Yep.
3, 2, 1. Hey, it's Wild Josh, and I'm joined by Kyle, Chase, and Joa. And tonight we're going to talk about our favorite Doctor Who. Now, let's get to it.
I woke up 8 a.m.
So, we're talking our favorite Doctor Who's, or Doctor Who, I should say, not plural. We're gonna pick one, but we're not. We're gonna limit ourselves. We're going back as far as the Christopher Eccleston, which is Doctor Nine, I
Yep.
believe.
Yep. New
Okay.
Who, as it's called.
New Who. I am probably the least knowledgeable when it comes to Who because I've only actually watched up to Matt Smith, so I have not seen Peter Capaldi or what's her name?
Jodie
What's her name?
Whittaker.
The girl.
Jodie Whittaker.
Jodie Whittaker. I haven't seen those two. But I'll let you guys get into it right away and start talking, and then I'll give you mine as we go.
All right. Well, I'll jump in since I'm the one who kind of thought of this as the topic for today. My sister was the one who got me into the show, and she is a huge Tennant fan. And I was like, yeah, Tennant's pretty cool, but I like Matt Smith better. So there's my answer. Not that he was funnier, but I think he was a little bit less serious than Tennant. I don't know. I just related to that better. And then it's kind of quasi he got Amy and Rory, who I thought was a very interesting story. So he just got a lot of interesting storylines during that timeline of the Doctor.
Yeah,
So-
I can agree with that. Matt Smith is definitely, of the entire series, one of my more favorite Doctors. Probably. I don't know like where I'd place him though. I'm terrible at ranking the Doctors. I've had trouble coming up with which my number one is. So.
Chase, you said your sister got you into Doctor Who. Can you give us like a time frame? Was that during the Peter Capaldi era, or
It was before
earlier, or...
Capaldi. I think it was probably I started watching right when 10 became 11, but I started back at 9 and watched through and kind of caught up.
Okay.
So for a long time, and I watched the first 2 episodes and I'm like, oh man, this show's gonna be really rough, and I had powered through it and got to 10, and like throughout like the first season with Tennant, I was like, no, Eccleston is still my favorite, and then I was just like, what kind of idiot would say Eccleston is their favorite? I say as somebody here has probably chosen Eccleston, but then I just really liked 10, and then I loved 11, and then I gave the first 2 episodes of Capaldi a try, and I was like, nope, this show has lost me. So I've only seen a little bit of Capaldi. I haven't seen any of Jodie Whittaker. But
So yeah,
um,
that's all. Like, that's such a small amount. It's like 3.5 minutes of Capaldi really felt like a lifetime. Chase?
it really felt like a lifetime, Kyle.
So let's go on to Kyle. What would you say? And why don't you give us your how you got involved and when you started watching Doctor Who as well?
I actually didn't really get into Doctor Who right away because
Because it came out in like the 50s.
well, yeah. So I actually started to watch some of that old stuff, but it was after I got into Doctor Who. I don't know, maybe like this was before we were married. Jonah got me into Doctor Who. He was having a party when Matt Smith was coming out as a doctor. So we went over there and watched I watched the first Matt Smith episode like as a group with them. And then he had me watch this episode, I forget is it Midnight? It's a Tennant episode. Yep. Joe is shaking his head.
Yep.
Yeah, with
That's a good one.
with Donna, and they're on this planet, and there's some life form on the planet that's like hopping from person to person and taking over their mind and controlling their bodies, which was a really spooky episode, which I really loved. But I ended up not really watching Doctor Who for a long time after that, and it was after Sarah and I got married. It was on Netflix, so I watched like the entire thing.
You binged it.
I did. So
Nice.
I'm there. Uh, I made a decision, thought about it, and I know it wasn't right, but it felt so good. Um, and I'm gonna have to say Eccleston.
What kind of idiot would say Eccleston was their favorite? What kind of idiot would say Eccleston was their favorite? Oh, I feel really bad now.
And it goes. I guess in my mind it goes Eccleston, Matt Smith, and then David Tennant, and then Peter Capaldi, because I haven't watched the Jodie Whittaker stuff either. But I think for me he is the most alien of them all. Matt Smith and David Tennant are very endearing. I really love their episodes. I'm tied to them more. But as the character, the Doctor, as an alien, I think that's my favorite character. He's the one who did that right. No love interest stuff, like just
I mean, kinda.
really who.
Rose.
Christopher Eccleston? Yeah, Rose.
Absolutely.
Easy.
That was definitely more
100%.
Tennant. That was more Tennant.
I
than
guess.
Rose.
That built their relationship.
If
I don't.
anything, it was more Jackie and Eccleston.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to backtrack. The reason that I liked Eccleston so much is because he was the one that gets you into the show. So he's kind of like the first one that you see, and so he's the one that's like most memorable to you, I think.
That was my first episode of Doctor Who was Rose, the episode titled Rose, which was also the first episode of New Who.
Yeah, the
In
mannequins.
With the the Autons. Yep. I know their name. I'm a nerd. I've actually been watching a lot of videos lately on like talking about old Doctor Who episodes. I forget the channel's name, but they're actually really good. He's defending older, like more criticized Doctor Who episodes. And that was a big one. Was like the whole setup of Eccleston's. You know, a lot of his episodes were a lot weirder, but I still find him more endearing. I'd agree with Kyle here. He's an endearing character. He feels alien and very different.
Mm-hmm.
He's got these mannerisms that you wouldn't expect from a normal person. So.
Is that who you're picking? Is Eccleston, or do you want to pick after I pick? It's up to you because you said you wanted to go last.
I'd like to go last.
Okay, all right.
I
So
don't wanna figure that.
no, I don't know. Maybe we might still pick the same person. It's okay. So I got into it later than you guys because we had already been doing this podcast it was still a podcast, but when you guys finally talked me into like going and watching it, and I had tried watching the first episode before, and I got through the first episode, and I was like, no, this is just too bizarre, and I'm not just watching it alone. Like my wife watches what I'm watching, so she was like, this is too weird for me. This mannequin's coming alive and stuff. So I'm like, no. So we're like, I think I complained for a while about how I couldn't do it, and then I ended up going back and just sticking with it, and because my thought process was I really like David Tennant as an actor. At the time, we were watching a mini series that he did on TV, and we really liked him. So I'm like, if we can just get through this Eccleston stuff, I know it's only a season. We'll get into what was it called, Kyle? That show I could see you thinking about it. Something.
Yeah.
Broadchurch.
Broadchurch. I think Broadchurch is the English version.
Okay, well, we were watching the American version of that. Anyways, and so we're like, if we can just get through this Eccleston stuff, then we'll get to Tennant and we'll be happy. And by the time we got through it, I actually really, really did like Eccleston. And I was kind of sad to see him go. And it was kind of weird because we were at first just like, let's just get through this stuff. And now we kind of had gotten attached to him. But I will have to say that David Tennant has been my favorite Doctor so far.
I still think Tennant is a very solid choice.
Yeah, I definitely agree. David Tennant is the best of the new Doctors as like a fan favorite, and he definitely earns that title. He's got the most development of them, and he can be compared to like Tom Baker of the old series as the absolute fan favorite. Really the example of Doctor Who that you want to introduce people to. But my favorite, I would have to say, is Capaldi. Um, I love Eccleston. I love Matt Smith. I love David Tennant. But I find Capaldi has a lot of charm to him, and he has some bad episodes, of course. No Doctor has their perfect episodes, and Capaldi started the trend of more cliche and you can kind of see where they're going kind of episodes. But the episodes that he has that are good really shine. I I like there's a couple of really good ones. I'm trying to remember the title of that one. Um, I know you've probably not seen it. I'm trying to.
Is it the one with the mummy?
No, that's Orient Express. The Orient Express episode. I don't remember Mummy on the Orient Express. I think. That was a good one though. That was a really good episode.
I might watch that one if it's anything like Agatha Christie.
Yeah, I
pretty
wouldn't
good.
watch that one if
that
that's what
sounds
you're going for.
it sounds like it's supposed to be like Murder on the Orient, so
It is. It is sort of, but at the same time, it's very different.
interesting.
It's very different. That episode's actually really fun because they have a countdown timer constantly on in the bottom of the screen, the bottom right of the screen, until the next victim of the monster of the week dies. Because there is a set schedule between every death. And I forget exactly how it works, but there's one person who's always targeted, and they had to find out the pattern for who was getting targeted, and then at the end, figure out how to stop the murders happening. So the episode that I really like Capaldi in is called Heaven Sent. It is probably one of my favorite episodes of Doctor Who. It's not a good one to start on, definitely, but I love just the character development of the Doctor. Not to spoil it, because it is very dependent on the previous episodes, and I know not everybody here has watched Capaldi. But the Doctor has a significant loss in the previous episode. And the very next episode, this one, Heaven Sent, he ends up getting trapped on his own, and there's a monster chasing after him the entire time. And he's really grieving still in this episode, and he's stuck in a time loop. So he has to get past his grief like every time he starts the time loop over. And it's just a really great exploratory episode. If you want to see why I like Peter Capaldi so much, definitely watch Heaven Sent, or the season leading up to Heaven Sent, especially. It's with Clara Oswald as the companion that season. So it's I don't know. It's good. It's good. I like Capaldi's emotion, and I like his grand speeches of why he does the things the way he does things. I'm losing my train of thought completely, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's almost as if you got into a
very
car
fun
and then
and very-
crashed along the way.
I completely forgot about that episode, but I agree that is a phenomenal episode.
I definitely have not gotten that far.
I like the last Christmas episode of Capaldi. It's the one where
Twice Upon a Time.
what's that?
Twice Upon a Time. think that was.
No, it's called Last Christmas.
Oh, I
It's
thought you meant like the last Christmas episode he did.
no, it's the one where there's the alien is the one that sucks on your face, and you just dream, and every time you come out of they come out of the dream, like they think they're safe, but it's just the alien tricking them so that way they stay asleep.
I think I remember that one.
It's like these people that get stuck on the science planet or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Science planet? That's a dumb thing. That planet where they're doing science experiments.
It is the tech world.
planet.
Or planes and pirates now.
Searching for signs of life, but there's nobody home.
So, well, I think there you have it. We have our 4 picked. Chase went with Matt Smith. Kyle, you went with Christopher
Did.
Eccleston. I went with David Tennant, and Joa, you went with Peter Capaldi.
So I think we're all winners.
Yeah, we all win. We all picked someone separate, and that wasn't planned. It was just kind of, we're going to go with who was our favorite. So thanks for watching. Leave us a comment in this video if you want to tell us who your favorite Doctor is and why. And until next time, good men don't need rules.
Legs! I still have legs.